What's up everyone, it's Iskander here. Welcome back to Tech Policy channel for tech news and crypto investment. In this urgent video update, we're going to show the Kaspa 10x leverage long, which will hopefully run to about 100k in the coming weeks and months. We'll see how we go. We're in the major markup stage. Bitcoin is about to break all-time high, and obviously all of the altcoins will run, and Kaspa is primed to do so. Alright, so before we start, as always, anything we say in this video is not financial advice and for education and entertainment purposes. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video. You can join our free Discord group via the attached link. So you can see we've set some early trades, some entry points as per what's showing on screen. Well, firstly Kaspa and then secondly SUI. So they're the two major projects we're tracking, not just from a spot perspective but also leverage. I think now is a safer time to start entering into alts. You know, we're still, people are still sidelined effectively. Unless you've been in crypto, you're not part of the retail, you're not here yet. You know, so now's the perfect time. So it's today is Sunday, and crypto's pumping. So it's always nice to see a good crypto pump on the weekend, which usually, you know, bodes well for what's coming in the following week. Usually crypto leads the rest of the markets. So if, you know, Bitcoin pumps, sometimes it dumps on a Monday or Tuesday when, you know, equities open up. But often I think, you know, the rest of the month will look really positive. So firstly, looking at Bitcoin, we can see it's right at that top level resistance. It just had a pump from about 103.5k to 104.8. So it's just very little resistance. Looking really good. In terms of BTC dominance, I think it's worth looking at, because then that's going to tell us, oh, look at that, how liquidity is flowing into alts. So we can see it is breaking down. Hopefully it will continue to break down further to this level in the coming week, but that's, you know, that's a really positive sign. And that can be, that's, you know, this is evident in the ETH chart. Obviously Ethereum started to pump. It's at about 2600. We'll have a look at Ethereum in a minute. So this looks really good. And of course Kaspa firstly, right? So this is where we set our entry around 10 at this level. We've had, you know, kind of this head and shoulder pattern. Let me just refresh my chart. I'm not sure what's going on there. So we've had this, we had this low here. I mean, this would have been a perfect entry, but who knew that this would have been the bottom? Right now it's sort of confirmed. We've got this kind of reverse head and shoulders. We've got a bit of resistance at this level, but I think there's a good chance it'll consolidate and keep moving up towards this level, as we've seen previously, and then things will get a lot more bullish, and, you know, those moves, intraday moves, will get a lot more violent. So I think that this would have been a great entry at, you know, between 8 cents and 10 cents, a safer sort of bet in terms of the upside. Like I said in the previous videos, we're going to see Binance list. That is still my view in the next month or two, and they'll pull the trigger. They've got their wallet ready. It's probably number 2 on the wallet list, with millions of dollars. And I think they're just waiting for bullish conditions to get, you know, retail flow, getting in, liquidity flowing, and then obviously trading fees. All right, so that was Kaspa. I think it's still a good time to make an entry here for a pretty massive 2x. You know, this is a 2x upside. If you put a 10x long like I have, that's, you know, you're gonna eat. That's gonna be your, basically you're gonna make that 10x, and then if Binance lists, well, that's 20-30 from here. That's the power of leverage, right? You put in a small amount into the exchange, and then you can set your long and off you go. As long as you set a stop loss and, you know, be safe. But yeah, looking at SUI, this would have been another perfect entry here. at about, what level is that, 3.5, between 3.5 and 4. Obviously it was had a a bit of a breather at this stage, and now I could tell things were getting more bullish, right, with that Bitcoin break. This is about the level I set my long, and I think we're gonna get there'll be some resistance obviously at 429, but it's just going to chop around here and then start heading back up, right? SUI is just such a strong coin. There's no reason it's gonna it'll start retesting this level probably within a week or two if Bitcoin starts setting all-time high. Like very certain that's going to happen. So yeah, so I've got a 10x long riding on this. And then, we'll see what happens from here. We'll probably take some profit here. And then when it starts setting, hitting Fibonacci levels at $7 and then $11, we'll take some out as well. So let's look at ETH. Yeah, that's ETH against BTC. This is what it's finally showing a bit of momentum or push upwards here. Which is good to see. But yeah, this is the main chart. There's obviously some resistance at that 2600 level. This would have been an amazing entry, right? Sort of a bit of a inverse head and shoulders, around about this level. There's quite a lot of fear obviously. And people were either sidelines or lost a lot of funds on the way down, and they just had nothing else left to play with. So now, they're just probably holding their spot bags, or traders, lost, maybe they shorted and made some money. Maybe they, were loaning and they lost some money. And now, again, this would have been a perfect entry point. It's still, ETH is going to be a runner at this stage. I know we've been sort of trashing ETH. Everyone has been. But I think that is the counter trade, the major counter trade at this time now. So I think ETH will continue pump. I mean, this was one of the biggest candles we've seen in a 2-day. What is that? Up to here, 40%, right? So it's within 2 days we've added like 50 billion of liquidity. Can you imagine that? It's just insane. So that's how much power it's got. It is a dinosaur coin. It's old. Nobody's building on it. L2s are draining all the profits, fees, and obviously the counter productive to the Ethereum ecosystem in terms of pushing up the price of Ethereum. So there's still some fundamental issues, but it's going to be traded up. It's going to be a runner. It'll probably could get to 5,000, 6,000, somewhere in this level, conservatively speaking. So I think the other fantastic trade, similar pattern, as per the other charts, we can see here. It broke that resistance at this point here. Now it's, this would have been 30.35 or so. This would have been a fantastic entry, which would have been about 350 million total market cap. Can you imagine? So we've gone down, WIF is such a strong meme. It's got such a large community. So it dumped 95%. That's insane. So you see how much ground it's got to cover, and what's going to happen. It's highly reflexive. This is how much we made from the bottom, 1500. That's 15x. If you don't think it's going to make another 15x from here, hell yeah, possible. Why not? Obviously you'll have some resistance to get to back to that level. It needs to do 20,000, I don't know, 1,000, I don't know, 1,000%, because it's on the way up. It's not. You have a lot more work to do, right? That's just the way my maths works to get back to those levels. But I think it will. If you set along, you've got 4x to the upside, even more. If you count those weeks. From the bottom, this would have been What level? Okay, up to that level. Yeah, 1500. You know, if you put a 5 to 10x, how much? Like, do you think that's gonna be 10? That's 150x. That's insane, right? So that's what you've got. You know, like perfect entry. The provider obviously, if as Bitcoin continues to pump and we get another meme season, this will be primed. So there you go. I'm giving you a perfect entry. I've given you Kaspa entry. I've given you SUI, Ethereum. Market's getting a lot more bullish. There's more open interest. There's been some liquidations as well. There's obviously shorts getting liquidated and partly causing that squeeze on the weekend. But yeah, this was the update. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to cover more of Kaspa, SUI, and other entries across the memes where things are about to pop. So please subscribe to our channel. It's Iskander here. We'll see you on the next one.